Welcome to the Gyms Podcast. I'm your host, Joel Kleber, and this podcast is designed to share stories of our franchisees, franchisors, Jim himself, and other members of the Gyms family that we think you might find interesting. If you are researching our brand, we've got a previous back catalogue. There's so many great episodes that you can find online. And if you do like what you hear, please make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube if you're watching, or online as well. We really do appreciate the support. Without further ado, here's today's episode. So with Anne, and you're from Gyms Dog Wash Traralgon, so good country person. We love speaking with our country franchisees. So I'm from Warrnambool, which is the other way. So it's always good to catch on with our country people. And so you were nominated for an Accor Silver membership, which is down there to the, I don't know if I can see it right there. I'm just sort of pointing to it. And basically it's worth $600, $700, 2 free nights, anywhere of their hotels, and you get all these discounts and drinks and food, which is always good. And that's on behalf of us being a staff franchisee. And you've been with us since 2015. So maybe you want to tell us a bit about yourself and what you're doing prior to Gyms Dog Wash.
Okay, prior to Gyms Dog Wash, I was working in a government organisation, customer service, and hated it for 10 years. So I decided to leave one day. I was already involved with dogs. I'm involved with the German Shepard Dog Club in Victoria, the Gippsland branch. So I was always really involved in dogs and wanted to be working with dogs. So just decided customer service 9 to 5 wasn't for me, and decided to walk away and looked into Gyms Dog Wash. Haven't looked back.
Yeah, no, that's a common story for a lot of people working a job that they don't want to do, and then you already had a passion for dogs, and you're able to see Gyms Dog Wash as a vehicle to do it. So do you want to take us back to then about the training and what sort of training you did and how was all that?
Back then we trained at a grooming school in Cranbourne. The training was great. The support's great. It was not knowing about dogs, but not knowing about the grooming side, and especially little dogs and clipping. I've got a big dog myself, so the training was fantastic, and I believe it's even better now because it's in the trailer, on deck in the trailer. So I believe it's even better now. So yeah, great.
And on the person who nominated you, they said you were a fantastic support to them, and I presume that's not just them. There's other people you've supported. So are you do you train people down there, or do you take them on observation days, or why do you think that comment came?
So when people are wanting to get into gyms, they come on the trailer with me for a trial day. They call it a trial day. So I guess that's the start of it. So if they don't like that, they don't go any further. So yes, I tend to take all the ones. I was the first one in Gippsland, so I tend to take all the new ones down here. So that's probably why that person said that, because I would have taken her out. And after she started, she rang me if she had any issues. So that was the biggest thing for me when I started. I was the only one down here. So it was pretty hard if I was having issues. So now we've got a few down here. We all support each other. So it's really good.
That's great. And I had a look at the system. Now, you must have really clients who like staying with you for a long time, and you don't take many leads, because I saw that you didn't have many 5-star surveys, which generally means that the Gyms franchisee, they're full up with work. They don't take work from leads, and their clients love them and don't leave. So yeah, that's definitely what happens with you.
Yeah. I've got a lot of people that I've seen that I've started doing their dogs when they're puppies and watched them grow old. So
really?
Yeah, and I people are ringing me all the time, and I tend not to take on new work because I'm pretty snowed under. But yeah, I have a hard time saying no to people as well. So yeah.
Well, you can tell from that the surveys, you can tell that you're a star, because as I said, like, for people outside gyms might not know that, but we know that if you don't have that many 5-star reviews and you've been in business as long as you have, it means you're doing a fantastic job and you're getting a lot of referral work from people. So
yeah.
How many dogs?
I think it comes from just loving it. Like, I just love it. Like, it's just not really a job for me. It wasn't about although the financial side of the thing, for me, that's not what it was about. It was completely a lifestyle change for me, and it's certainly done that. So, yeah.
And what do you love in particular about it, Anne?
Just the dogs.
Yeah.
I just love the dogs. I have a radio in my trailer, and the dogs probably don't like my singing voice, so they don't complain about it. But I have a radio in my trailer, and if someone opened the door and actually looked if the door was closed, I'd be in there dancing with the dogs, and I talk to them, and even the challenging ones, like they're just frightened, and it's up to us to to show them they don't need to be. And most dogs hate to be bathed. Let's face it; it's not the dogs that like it; it's the owners.
Some people do as well.
But yeah, I just love the dogs, and I think that comes through. Like everybody that knows me say, you know, that I've just generally. And I've generally bonded with their dogs. Like I just have to point to the bath and say bath, they hop in. I point to the table and they jump up on the table. And I guess that comes from training German Shepherds for all those years as well. But yeah, they get into a routine and they know, you just get to know them. And the bond there is, it's sad when they go over the rainbow, actually. That part I don't like at all. But yeah, just love it.
Now with a common customer thing, I presume you get a lot is about, they would say, oh, my dog's too aggressive or my dog can't be washed. And then, so maybe you want to talk through customers and just put their mind at ease about that and about the process that you would go through with that.
There's in my experience, there's not that many dogs that are generally aggressive. Aggression comes from fear. So, and in the dog world, they'd never put themselves in a position where they feel trapped. And that's exactly what we're doing to them when we put them in a trailer. We put them at the end and they're trapped and they can't get out. So I think it's up to us. A lot of treats. I give them a lot of treats. Sometimes when they're really fearful, they won't eat treats. So it's just a lot of soft talking to them and trying to calm them. Of course, some dogs you never can. And so those dogs, you just groom them, get them in, get them out as quickly as you can, because they're generally scared. It's generally not aggression that we see. It's generally fear. Like it's really is, I'm going to get you before you get me sort of thing. So yeah, and unfortunately, it's not really the big dogs that we see it from. It's a lot of the little guys that have to be clipped. Big dogs give you plenty of warning before they do something, and those little guys are fast, so they're a bit trickier. But yeah, I don't have that many. They'd get yelled at if they now know me. So if they go to do something, I generally am aware of it, and I just tell them no or and just can't try and reassure them that I'm not going to hurt them. So yeah.
And what's the difference for customers to know of between using a mobile groomer and going to like a site-based one? What's the benefits of you know, it might be obvious to you, but maybe just tell people about what's the key difference, especially with your expertise as a trainer as well. That's even more of you coming from a position of authority with that. So do you want to tell us about that difference?
I think it's because I go to them. So the dogs are at home. So they're already, we get a lot of dogs are nervous not to be home. So they're at home already. If there is an issue of any kind, I just simply knock on the door. Some owners come and want to watch for the first time. I don't have that now because I've known them long enough, but some owners they sometimes catch me singing, so I do warn them about that. But they come to the back door and they knock on the door. If it's shut, in summer it's open, but in winter I shut it to try and keep it a bit warmer in there. They'll knock on the door just to check. I mean, we're with their pride and joy. They're not dogs to them, and my dog's not a dog to me. She's part of my family. So, and a lot of groomers, it's drop the dog at the door. You don't know what happens when that, you don't know. You're dropping your dog somewhere and you pick it up when it's done. And there's a lot of in-between time. So they can check on the dog and just make sure everything's okay. And I totally welcome that. I let them have a look in the door and say hello to their dog. I do explain that when that happens, the dog will try and get to them, so they're aware of that. Now they don't do it, but at the start, when they don't know me, I completely get it. Whereas at a fixed groomer, you don't have, they're told to leave, drop your dog and leave.
Yeah.
So I think they feel more comfortable that I'm just there and they can check if they want to. They don't, but if they want to, they can.
I also think, Anne, you can, you know, with your expertise, you can educate the customer during the process as well, and things maybe they should be doing and maybe that they're not doing to help their dog. Whereas at the groomer, I think I don't know what they do from the normal site-based ones, but sometimes they might just tell you at the end or with a report card or something, and you don't really see that sort of happening at the same times. Whereas with you, they could probably stick their head in the trailer and you see you doing the process. And do you find that they ask you a lot of questions about what they should be doing?
They do, especially we're seeing a lot of, I call them oodle breeds. So that's something that's crossed with a poodle. So they're very popular at the moment. Everyone has one, and they're beautiful dogs, but they do require a lot of grooming. And most people say, can you keep them long? Unfortunately, when they're matted, you don't have a choice. You have to cut them short. So at least can say, come and have a look, explain why I can't leave them longer, because the clippers won't go through a mat. They have to go under a mat. So, and they get it, and then show them how to brush the dog correctly. Like a lot of them say, I'll brush the dog, but it's not correctly. So it's all that where they won't get that as a groomer. They drop the dog, and then the first thing they'd say to me is, I took my dog to the groomer, it come back shaved. And it might well have needed to be shaved, but they weren't told why it needed to be shaved and what we can do to keep it longer and fluffy and cuter and all those things. So my clients are all really good now. They know that they get in trouble if they haven't brushed their dog, if they want it long. But I have that rapport with them all. They're not just clients to me. They've all become pretty close. So I can be completely honest and blunt with them, and I think they appreciate that. So yeah, it's about training them as well.
Training the dog and the owner at the same time.
Yeah.
I have heard that a couple of times from the franchisees. Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, because people need to, they want to look after their pets the best.
They don't
best
know.
advice.
They don't know. They don't understand how the dog hair works and how it mats so easily. So they're doing their best, and they don't understand. And when you explain it to them, they're thankful, because they just said, well, I just dropped it at the groomer and they just come back shaved, and they don't know why. So yeah.
And now, how many jobs roughly do you do a day?
Oh, when I first started, I was crazy. I was doing about 8-9 dogs a day. Wow. I have slowed down to about 6 now, but I'm getting older, and I don't really need to do that many a day. So yeah, it's about 5-6 dogs a day that I do, and I tend to sometimes finish at lunchtimes on Fridays as well. So
Great.
You know, it's a job that works around me and my lifestyle.
That's great. And so let's talk about all the services you provide. So maybe even though it's dog wash and grooming, is there anything else you do in your business, or?
Not really. I just do dog wash and grooming. I tend to, with the club that I'm involved with, and I do that Saturday mornings, I tend to say bring your clippers along, and I cut dogs' nails. We do a lot. Me and the other lady from Sale, Larissa, who nominated me, we generally do some fundraising stuff with the German Shepherd Dog Club. So at Christmas we park our trailer there and we wash dogs, don't necessarily dry them all depending on how many we get. So we do a lot of fundraising work for them as well, right, because they supported us when we started. So we figure that's the least we can do. But apart from work, I'm doing just really grooming, but I don't do anything extra.
Now, because you're a German Shepherd expert, let's talk about the German Shepherd breed then. So why do you love the German Shepherd breed so much?
Oh, I just adore them. My first girl, who's no longer with us, was my first purebred German Shepherd. I've had always crossbreeds as a child. I guess it's just, I just love the look of them. When you look at a German Shepherd, they're just so proud and noble looking dog, and clever. They're so clever, and they're easy to train. They're just a beautiful breed to me. And once they love you and you love them, you probably wouldn't have any other breed as far as I'm concerned.
And who does the breed suit in terms of what sort of type of owners are good for a German Shepherd?
Someone I would say they have to have. Not necessarily, I don't believe in you have to be the pack leader. I don't believe in that, but they certainly need strong leadership. They certainly need, and you can treat them like a baby. Mine sleeps on my bed when they're not supposed to, but she gets up there. But as long as they know that that's an invite and that's a privilege, so you have to be certainly a strong leader. They want that, they need that. If you're not, they'll certainly take that role on, and then that's when you've got problems. But they're a beautiful breed and very misunderstood as far as I'm concerned.
And with the training, how long does the process take from a puppy, or how?
Oh, the earliest you can get them in, the better.
Yep.
We get puppies in, the earliest you start, the better. You're setting boundaries. You just got to set the brand like children. You got to set the boundaries. If you don't set them properly, then they'll certainly take control of that.
And how can people find a reputable breeder? What should they do if they want to buy a German Shepherd or look at where?
Definitely buy from a registered breeder.
Yeah.
Definitely go to a breeder that's registered. The German Shepherd Dog Club have a link to their page that goes to, and Dogs Victoria, all those people are registered breeders. Just stay away from the backyard breeders. We've worked really hard to make this breed beautiful. Like my dogs had to go through temperament testing and hips and elbow and all sorts of stuff. And she's beautiful. She was well bred. So just go to a registered breeder. Don't go to at the backyarders.
Now, in your role, is there any particular dog breeds you like grooming more than others, or is there just sort of any favourites that stand out to you? I know there's probably no favourites, but is there anything that stands out to you?
You can't ask me that question. That's like asking if you've got a favourite child.
I've asked every dog wash franchisee I've interviewed. They've all said a couple of breeds which have been the common ones. So I'll see if you.
Well, obviously German Shepherds are my favourite dog, and you won't change me from that. But yeah, favourite other breeds. I don't know. I like them all. I like the challenge of the clipping. I like even the little crossbreeds. Like some of them are just beautiful dogs. They look at you like you're their favourite person. And I know that's the treats that I give, but yeah, I really can't say. Just the German Shepherds, because obviously that's what I own. But I love them all equally in their own right. I don't think it's a breed thing. I think it's a personality thing for me.
Now, with your customer service, is there anything else you might do different, you think, or because you've got a fantastic customer base, and from speaking to you, you can tell you just love what you do. So, is there anything different you're maybe doing from a customer service point of view, you think, or?
I would say when I started, obviously everyone gets a text the night before just as a reminder that I'm coming. But the next day, I would just text them a general asking for feedback, asking if there's something that I did that needs doing differently. And I know that opens a bit of a Pandora's box, but for me, what it did was keep the lines of communications open. So if I did something that they weren't happy with, at least I was saying to them, is there something else that I could do for you? And most of the time they say, no, wonderful, great service. But sometimes it was leave the tail a bit longer or cut it a bit shorter, or can you do this a little bit different? So I think for me, keeping those lines of communication open with your clients is their pride and joy. It's not a dog. It's not just a dog, and it never should be just a dog. It's their pride and joy, and we have to respect and honour that. And so I kept just those communication lines open. Still today, if I have a bad day and everyone has a bad day, they know they can ring me. Rather than put a complaint in, they can ring me or text me and say, can you do this a little bit different? And so keeping those lines of communication and letting them know that you're open to that, I think is the key.
Now, because you take so many people out to be franchisees, what to you makes a good dog wash and grooming franchisee? What sort of what advice could you provide someone who might be looking at it?
You've got to love dogs. You've got to love them, because they're not all. It can't be about money. It's got to be about the love for the dogs, because they have bad days just like we do, and they're not all good, and some of them are quite naughty, and if you're tired, you've got to like dogs. For me, I can tell if someone's a dog person or not, and if they're not doing it for that, then maybe look at something else. There's plenty of gyms, has plenty of franchises out there. If you don't have a general love and respect for dogs, then probably not do it. And I can tell straight away. Like you can tell talking to me, that I'm passionate about it. So when all else fails, you've got to have that to fall back on.
No, for sure. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Anne. And you can tell why you're a star in the division. It's great to meet you, and you can see it's great to be able to share this, because people can see and hear how passionate our franchisees are, and you're an absolute star with what you're doing. We're very lucky to have you at Jim's Group, and obviously Jim's Dog Wash as well. It's a fantastic credit, and you can see why your customers love you. So, as I said at the start, like someone to be around for. Sorry.
I love them too, just as much. The feeling's mutual.
That's great. Well, on behalf of Gyms Group, we'll give you the silver membership, which is 2 free nights at any Accor hotel, which is not only Australia, it's other places as well, and 50% of dining bills and all that sort of stuff. So please use them and have a couple of nights out on the Gyms Group. And thank you for being a star franchisee and joining us today.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice, you too, Anne. No, see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.